Hey guys, and welcome back to Becca Does Stuff, and welcome to this mini series that I've created solely for the purpose of my Use It Up challenge for the year of 2025. As many of you may know, I did a Use It Up challenge for the year of 2024. While it wasn't a failure, I did have some room for improvement, so that's my goal for 2025, to do better than I did the previous year. But I'm also hoping that by doing this challenge again, it'll help me instill better habits that will enable me to live even more sustainably going forward, as well as help me save money. We're only in the first quarter of the year, and I've already noticed a good chunk of savings, so that's a definite plus. We have a vegetable garden that produced a lot of chard, so I planned some meals around it, incorporating it into recipes where I could. Like this gnocchi dish that allowed me to use up some chard, sausage from my freezer, and this rice wine vinegar, but I added a bit too much. It came out really strong. But I added some vegetable broth at the end and it balanced it right out, so we're good. I still have a lot of chard left in the garden though, so I'm asking some friends and neighbors if they'd like some, as well as some of the cilantro, cabbage, and rosemary that we have in our garden. I had some celeriac, is that how you pronounce it?
Celeriac.
Celery root. And I only needed half of it because this thing is massive. Look at it. So I want to use up the rest of this so it doesn't go to waste. So I found a recipe for fries that you can make out of this. The dip for the fries calls for garlic. I'm going to use garlic olive oil though because I feel like just raw garlic will be a little too intense. Mayo, lemon, salt, pepper, and parsley, and I have to use up my parsley too. I'm not quite sure that it's going to be enough, but I'm going to try my best to make it work. I mean, I used it up, but it didn't taste great. Alright, fresh produce is always the problem. We get stuff, we don't use all of it, or we forget things, and it wilts and dies really fast. This came from our garden. Andrew was planning on making something with it, but I don't think he's going to, so I'm going to use it because you snooze, you lose. This is also from our garden. I didn't use it all up in my last recipe, so I'm going to take that out. Mushrooms that I didn't use up. A leek. Got some green onions. More green onions. Got some basil. And then there's some spinach in here. Turkey. Some Parmesan, cheddar, yeah. What's in here? Oh, feta. I wanted to use up the feta. And eggs. And in the pantry, oh, is that enough? This, you can see, is starting to get brown. These are limp and sad. This has been in the fridge for a minute. It doesn't look terrible, but it's been in there for a while. And then these are getting sad. And then mushrooms, these are still fine, but mushrooms go bad fast. So my thought was to cook all of this, mix it with some quinoa, and put it in my little muffin cups and make little quinoa breakfast muffin things. But there's not much quinoa. I wonder if I could do some with quinoa and some with rice, or maybe some are just veggies and eggs, like mini quiches. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna do what I can to use these up though. I totally forgot to record how my little quinoa quiche things came out. This is frozen. I made a bunch of them and put them in the freezer, and I'm down to the very last one. I'm like, crap, I didn't record these for you guys, but they came out really good. Really tasty. As you can see, they're all gone except one. Although these ones went to waste because I reheated them too long. Again, I had more chard to use up from my garden, a half an onion that was sitting in the fridge, a sweet potato that was getting kind of old, and then I had some vegetable broth from the freezer, and I used up my turmeric and some other spices to make this sweet potato chard hash recipe that I found online. Well, here's some Use It Up fails. This tasted good, but this and this both caused like symptoms. So unfortunately I have to get rid of those. And then this, I went to eat it, but then realized that it is way expired, and I am not gonna eat yogurt after it is expired. These are gonna have to get composted. Some people cut off the bad parts of tomatoes and eat the rest, but you shouldn't do that because the mold spores can grow throughout the tomato where you can't see it. Here's one of my many freezer soups that I used up. I almost forgot to show you that I'm using up one of my frozen soups, which I was putting off. Let's see if it's any good. So you've got 1, 2, 3 things of soup here. This is tomato sauce, I think. Strained tomatoes. Broth, broth, broth. That's soup. These are broth. 3 things of tomato sauce, soup, and soup, broth, and a broth. So let's see. This says pot soup.
Weed?
It is not made with pot. It's potato soup.
Oh, yeah, no, I knew that.
Down here I have some chicken sausages that need to get used up, so I'm gonna work on those instead of buying myself like turkey bacon or anything like that. I'm just gonna use what I have in the freezer already. I haven't had French toast in forever, so I decided to make French toast. However, now this little bit of egg wash is getting wasted because that is plenty. I don't need any more than that. So Andrew was going to get rid of these chip crumbs. He doesn't like them when they're all broken in the bottom. I'm going to eat them. And also I wanted to use up our cilantro from our garden, and we had some avocados that were getting kind of soft, like a little too soft. So I got some serranos. I had some green onions to use up too, and made myself a guacamole with it. Okay, I needed a little structural support, so I added some regular full chips that are from his other bag of chips. And I'll just mix these together and make it work. Hey, if I gotta get a spoon to eat my chips with my guacamole, I will. In case you're wondering, that's how I'm doing it. Finish these off. Well, this is going to waste. I made eggs, but they smell bad. I didn't eat any, I just smelled it, and yeah. I have a fridge full of nuts and sunflower seeds to use up, and there so happens to be this awesome granola recipe that calls for all these ingredients. It also calls for walnuts, which I didn't have any, but I figured I'd just double up on some pecans and almonds since that's what I have the most of, and thought it would come out just as good, and I was right. All right, I know this sounds silly, but I have goals written out as to what food I have left in the pantry and the fridge and the freezer that should probably get used up soon. And I think I'm gonna make myself a fruit salad maybe, and or oatmeal. Let's see. Okay, yeah, an omelet sounds good. Maybe I'll make an omelet using up some of those foods that I mentioned that need to get used up. Well, we got one container down of strawberries. Does that make me under consumption core?
Yes, completely, totally.
I unfortunately have a big use it up fail. This doesn't look very appealing. I'm sorry. It looks like dog. And I've eaten soup every day, and I souped myself out. This I took out last night. What I should have done is set a timer on my phone to remind myself. Next thing you know, I'm passed out, forget about it, and it's warm. It's not good anymore. That's unfortunate that an animal had to die for nothing. I mean, this is not a whole cow, but still, I feel bad. And this French toast, I had made a bunch again. I had some in the freezer. I took it out for Andrew, but then Andrew got sick and really wasn't having an appetite, and I forgot about this. It's been over a week that it's been sitting in the fridge, so it's probably not great to eat now. Unfortunately, I found another fail. This avocado is just a titch brown, just a little too brown. So this is gonna have to get composted too. We have this old banana tea that we made for our plants. We put banana peels in water and let it soak in the fridge, and then you dilute it a lot and pour it into your garden. This has been in our fridge for a very long time, just kind of in the back, taking up space, forgotten about. So I'm gonna dump this in our garden today. We have these broken terracotta pots, and I was gonna declutter them, but I was like, I feel like there's something you could do with them. Well, I looked up online, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with them, but I want to use this pot that's not being used. We've got another one over there, just sitting there looking pretty, but with no plants in it. I want to get maybe some succulents, cacti, and I want to use these broken pieces of terracotta pot to build a structure and maybe do tiers of plants. I will insert some pictures of what I want to do, and then when I actually do it, I'll have to update you guys because it might not be as pretty, but I'm gonna try. I used up more cilantro from my garden to make guacamole again. And also I made a yummy cilantro lime rice that came out awesome.